everyone, and welcome to Q&A show. My name is Bob Theriot, and I'm super stoked that you're joining me here tonight. I know you have a lot of choices and a lot of things you could be doing on a Friday night, but it's going to be well worth it. I can't wait to bring my next guest on. But before we get started, real quick, if you happen to be watching this live, you can do me a favor and hashtag live. And if you happen to catch this down in replay in an archive or just in the replay mode, hashtag replay. That helps us out. Also, don't be afraid to hit that heart button. Don't be afraid to hit that share button. I promise your finger's not going to get electrocuted. So anything you can do, share this. You're going to find a lot of value in it. I'm super excited. I got to see this gentleman at the Kajabi Impact Summit back in April, and he just blew me away, his stage presence. So hang tight with me real quick. What I want to do is real quick thank you to our sponsors. Innovair Air Conditioning. It's that time of season, right? It's hot. It's really hot. So if you guys need a free quote estimate, give them a call, 915-352-3916. You can also find them at their website at keepcool915.com. So let me tell you a little bit about my guest, just to give you some context. If you haven't heard of him, he is a video marketing strategist that has helped clients generate over $5 million in revenue. He has built his YouTube business into a multi-six-figure success story in less than a year, and that really intrigues me right there. He is also the co-author of the book YouTube Secrets, which I have right here, which is an awesome read, and we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go. The ultimate guide to growing your following and making money as a video influencer. So if any of this interests you, share this out and talk to us, ask us questions. So let me introduce you to Mr. Sean Cannell, everyone. Sean Cannell, let me bring him up here. Hey,
Bob,
Sean, what's up, bud?
Fired up. How's it going?
Oh, I'm so excited to have you, Sean. Thank you so much for doing this. It's awesome.
My pleasure.
So my audience is eclectic, right? So I have a lot of real estate agents, entrepreneurs on here, insurance agents, business owners. So I really wanted to bring you on because I know you have a lot of information. Your YouTube channel is just chock full of information. Your book, YouTube Secrets, is full of information. So I just want to give a little context to my audience about you. If you can just share a little bit about you for those who don't know you.
Absolutely. Yeah. My passion is helping people build their influence with YouTube and online video. And I've now been doing video since 2003 and YouTube since 2007. I actually started in my local church as a volunteer. 2007 was 2 years after YouTube started. And your first videos are your worst videos. You know, I was making videos for my youth group. They were terrible. And I know that some people, especially, you're crushing in your business, you're crushing it as a real estate agent, but getting on camera is like deer in the headlights. Like, come on, you know? And so, but I got started super early, and that was nice because I was able to cut my teeth, level up my skills. In 2009, I started a video production business where I was helping small businesses create videos, put them on YouTube to build their influence, local restaurants, local businesses, local real estate agents type of thing. And then fast forward to today, where now we have a media education company where we share free content on our YouTube channels, Video Influencers and Think Media. We've got different training programs to help entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders level up, our book and things like that. And all on this mission to help people master the tools. Like, what are the cameras? What are the gear? Just like your podcast studio setup. I love it. You got the mic, you got the nice background. You know, a lot of people watching, I'm sure they want to create content just like we're doing here. So we talk a lot about that on Think Media. And then the strategies, you know, like what's working right now when it comes to YouTube and social media so that people can increase their profits, their impact, and their following.
Passion. So how did you fall into YouTube? So what attracted you? I know you were doing some stuff with the churches, but how was it that you said you saw YouTube? Like, that's being a little ahead of the curve. It had been around a while, but people weren't utilizing it the way they are today. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, exactly. I think what stood out to me about YouTube versus all the other social media platforms is the other social media platforms, I like to call them kind of the social media hamster wheel. And with all respect to Facebook, we use it, love Instagram. We're using LinkedIn. There's a lot of opportunities on LinkedIn right now, especially with video. But the difference with YouTube is that it is a search engine. And so here's what I mean. A lot of these other content platforms, if you're maximizing them, Come on, you're supposed to post on Facebook 4 times a day. On Instagram, you're supposed to do a profile post. You're supposed to do stories. You need to go live. Now there's IGTV. It's like, give me a break. And then on top of that, now you're over here, you're tweeting, and then you're headed back over here on LinkedIn. You're writing an article and you're writing some videos. And like, it's this hamster wheel, tweet, post, post, post. You're just running all over, and it could be really
super overwhelming. Super overwhelming.
Whereas it's not that YouTube doesn't take effort. In fact, sometimes when creating content, it might even take a little bit more effort up front. But the difference is that YouTube is a search engine. So a lot of times you create a video today that'll work for you, not just tomorrow, but for weeks, months, and years to come. We teach it called ranking videos, where when you put a video around what your target audience is searching for, those watching real estate's a good example. One of our course members, Steve Panette, if you go to YouTube right now and you type in Phoenix, Arizona real estate, his video is in like the top 3 spots and maybe number 1. Now, he made that video 1 to 2 years ago, and it only has about 2,000 views, but it probably gets about 100 views a month or so, maybe like 60 views a month. People looking for Phoenix, Arizona real estate right in the top of the video. He's got his phone number. He's got his email. So it's getting him leads on autopilot that want to buy houses, sell their house. And so it's building his business. That's the beauty of YouTube. You invest the energy, the time, potentially resources to create the content. But when you do it right, that content should work for you. And business leaders really get this. YouTube videos are kind of like an employee that you pay once, but then works for you for free for weeks, months, and years to come. Once you build that leverage, once you build that momentum and get this kind of army of videos working to build your brand and business.
That's awesome. So would you say that people struggle though with getting on camera? Because I know I run an agency, and when I'm dealing with business owners and we start talking about video, they're like, no, get my office manager, or no, can you do something else? How do they get over that? Because it is scary. I mean, like you said, your first videos are usually going to be your worst ones. But eventually you have to muster up that courage. How do you entice your clients to do it?
Yeah. I mean, first off, it's completely normal. I think being on video is also like public speaking. And that's a lot of people's greatest fear. Like they rather die than speak in public, So it's like, there's something intimidating about it. But the way we like to say it is you kind of just got to do it. Nike put it, just do it. And here's what I mean. I kind of compare it to like fitness, something that I run, but you won't really see me in the gym. That's why my arms are like this. They're pretty scrawny. So I've been to the gym 2 times in my life, but when I went, it was similar because you walk in and it's super intimidating. Your first time there, you're like, shoot, I just got some old scrubby clothes on. These people over here, they got the coolest yoga pants and like the best stuff. And then some ripped dudes over there just crushing it with perfect form. I sit down on some machine. I'm doing it. I'm pointed the wrong direction. Like I didn't even look at the little pictures, and like I'm feeling the judgment from everybody. That's the first time you walk in the gym. You're out of shape. So your hands are shaking. You're sweating. That's the first time you walk in. But the thing is, you never get results after that first time. You have to keep showing up. And so if you keep showing up, well, you're getting stronger. And then when you keep showing up, well, your form's getting better. And then when you keep showing up, now you roll in, you're like, what's up, Sean? Fist bump. Hey, Sarah. Now you kind of feel it. You got like a headband on. Why? Because you've been growing into it. Video is kind of the same way. We say you got to punch fear in the face, punch perfectionism in the face, and press record. And be willing to put out a lot of bad videos to help you get to your good ones. The mistake people make, even when it comes to public speaking, is they see a good public speaker or someone who's confident, and they just think, I could never do that. That's not true. You don't put them on a pedestal. They've just had so many bad times, communicating, that you're just seeing them now as they're more comfortable. Never compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. And
that's great advice. Great advice.
Yeah, and you just keep showing up, you keep doing it, and you can build that confidence, just like kind of riding a bike. You just got to do it again. And eventually the training wheels come off, and eventually you're not falling down anymore, and it's coming natural. And then the second piece of advice is, I would say, do your best to almost forget that the camera is there. Like a lot of times, the best information and the way to build your brand with YouTube is to treat it as if you were sitting down across from the table at your favorite coffee shop with a friend you care about. And if that friend was like, man, how do I start saving money on my taxes? Let's say you're an accountant, you're a CPA. You would go, oh, I can help you because that's your expertise. You could go, I don't know anything. What are the three biggest mistakes that people make on their taxes when they file each year? If you're a CPA, you're like, okay, I can tell you right now.
Right.
And you would just look them in the eye. You would just add value to them. It'd be personal. Maybe you share a personal story. If you can just realize that it's just connecting with someone, you're looking in that lens, you're talking to one person.
Right.
You're looking in that lens, you're talking to one person that you just care about. And you almost need to forget about yourself. And the third tip I would get is, again, it does get better over time. You and me both come from an era when there used to be answering machines. Remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Physical phones.
Yep.
And so I remember I came home from school one day and I had called to leave a message for my parents and they didn't get the message. So I came in and I hit the button on the answer machine and I heard myself talk. And I was like, is that what I sound like? Like, what the heck who is that guy? That guy is a weird voice. We're so critical about ourselves. And the reality is that's actually is how you sound. Like that is how you look. When I look at my videos, I'm like, why did I say so many times? Why do I do weird things with my face? Why do I have that weird eye twitch? Like what? But that's you. People are not actually thinking about those things. This is what you want to remember. They're worried about the content value. What content are you delivering? And if you can just deliver some information, some content, some value that helps move somebody from A to Z, more importantly, that just moves them from A to B. Look, I just want to help you. This is what worked for me. Do this, this, and this. They're not going to be too worried about that how it's presented, so long as you're leading them to that goal. So it's almost like trying to forget about yourself. And then along with that third tip, the more you do it, if you are willing to watch yourself, the greatest athletes watch their game tape. Like after the game, they watch their game tape. In fact, if you're really a world-class athlete, you actually don't think about the shots you made in the game. You think about the shots you missed.
Right.
And so I don't want to ever get off stage or turn a video off and only focus on the negative. But I also like to look at like, wow, this is an opportunity to just get better. Just try to get 1% better with every video. Right. And I want to look at the shots I missed. Wow, I was really kind of cluttered in my communication there. I say a lot. Why is my head drifting up and looking off? and then just adjust it. Don't overjudge it. Just say, man, each time I'm going to learn a little bit and get 1% better. And then what happens, again, don't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. People see my videos now and they're like, oh, you seem so confident. You seem so smooth. I've put out over 2,000 videos online. Yeah. And the first 1,600 were not that great. Luckily, because of our content and some of our encouragement and things we do, for everybody watching, look, your first like 30 to 50 videos, you're probably going to hate them. But you got to get through those because that's going to get you to the place where you can make that impact. And here's why. Reasons come before results. You need to have deep enough reasons to get over yourself and to understand that if you want to be in business in 2020 and 2022, you got to start leaning into these platforms. You got to leverage these platforms. There's no other option. Find a way to do it. I mean, yeah, if you do want someone else on your team, have them do it. But one way or another, you need to be present where people's attention is. LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. And so just find a way, because what you want to do too is early on, final tip on this, is you also might say, well, what if the whole world's going to judge me? Like, what if a bunch of people see this video and they're going to judge me? Here's the good news about starting. Not many people are going to be watching at the beginning. Right? You've been anybody who's built something. Well, why am I not getting 1,000? Everybody starts with one view, and then you have 4 people watching live, and then the next week you only have 1. You're like, shoot, I went backwards. But what happens is eventually you build that momentum. But I like to say, use your season in obscurity to prepare you for popularity. Right. So when nobody's watching, that's actually a blessing, because think of your next 10 to 30 videos as just practice. This is less about the public. I'm practicing in public, but it's less about the people that are viewing, and it's more about me working on my voice, getting through the kinks, getting comfortable. Because when you start today, here's the thing, you can't wait. Like, the best time to start building your YouTube channel was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. And so if you want to be positioned 6 months from now to capitalize and maximize 2020 and to crush it on social media, start now in kind of a beta experimental practice phase, kind of get used to communication. And then when even your friends, your peers are like, wait, where'd you come from with like that confidence on camera? You're like, over the last 6 months, I was really uncomfortable. I put out a lot of videos. I didn't feel like doing it, but I just did it. and I've built up the muscle, if you will. I put in the repetitions, and now I've built that confidence.
And I got to see that in person, Sean. I don't know if you remember me walking up to you at the Kajabi Summit, but I had my cameraman with me. I walked up to you. You were really busy, but you were kind enough to stop, and you turned around. I asked you a question, and boom, you went. And I thought, wow. Like, I went back and watched a whole bunch of videos because, like you said, you've built that muscle, and it is so natural. You were so natural. But again, it comes with a lot of work and a lot of practice. And I do want to stress, it's never too late, right? Because people keep thinking, oh, social media is already peaked. It's hit its pinnacle, and YouTube's bundled into there. It's not too late, right? And I want to give people hope. It's not too late to start. Like you said, start today.
100%.
We have a lot of people here. As you can see here, Dylan Orris says he loved that gym comparison that you gave. Who else? Sherry here says you feel more relaxed the more you do. Let's see. JP, he says show up to go up. He's up here. Let's see. Who else? People are saying hi. Made it. True. Hi, Sean. Carrie Peterson. So people are on here, Sean. So awesome. So let's talk about influencers. People hear that buzzword influencers, right? You ask kids today, they did a study saying that kids wanted to be police officers, doctors, and firemen. And now they ask them, and the number one thing they always answer with is, I want to be a YouTube influencer, right? And so what do you say to kids that want to be influencers, or even adults that still want to do that? I mean, is that still something that's attainable?
Absolutely. Because here's what's funny about that term is some people don't like the term. Some people, when they think of influencer, they think of a snobbish, self-absorbed LA Instagram aspiring model that is like taking pictures of her food and her pink drink at Starbucks and has got a weird attitude. That's kind of like, what we think of the negative side of influencers, but influencers are nothing new. I mean, if you're an author, if you're Napoleon Hill, you're an influencer. My gosh, you've influenced the world, Think and Grow Rich, and you continue to influence the world. If you're Jim Rohn, who now his content is, of course, leadership, and it's being published as his organization continues to publish it, but you're an influencer with your tapes, with your seminars, and the old school. So influence, all we're talking about is really just leadership. And what I would say, especially to like young people that are raising young people, is encourage your kids and take the standpoint of not trying to be a person of success or even really a person of influence. Just try to be a person that adds value, because when you add value, that will build your influence. I think the big problem we're seeing with influencers right now is that is their goal. It's like they want to be influencers for influencers' sake. And I don't blame them, because they're like, it looks cool to travel the world and just have people watch your life and do that kind of thing. And that's going to work for a very small percentage of people. However, what's a lot more practical is to strive to be a person of massive value. What is it you've mastered? What is it you've put a lot of time into? What is it that you can help other people with? Of course, your audience is solving problems for people. What problem do you solve for a specific audience? With over 30,000 hours in video now, whether that's shooting video, editing video, scripting it, working with teams, going to conferences, 30,000 hours over the last really 19 years. They say it takes 10,000 hours to master something.
Right.
So I've been compounding some time here.
Oh, yeah.
This is kind of a niche that I want to pass my information along. But those that are watching, we've got Heather Torres in our community. She's got a homeschool channel. Nobody knighted her as an expert for homeschool, but she is so passionate about it. She's read like all the best books on it. She's gone to events. She's been doing it for a few years now, as her oldest is 10. And so she can help those that are just a few steps behind. And she has now, in a pretty short time, built 13,000 subscribers on YouTube of homeschool moms going according to kind of like our system of growing your YouTube channel. So she is a homeschool influencer, but she never really set out to be that. She just set out to add value to moms and families that are nervous and scared about how to get started to homeschool, that are asking the question, homeschool versus public school. So that's what I would say. I would say, develop a skill, identify your genius zone, identify your strength zone. For some, they are called and even graced to be a comedian, to be an entertainer. And that's kind of what we think of as influencers, just people that are just funny and just followed because of the charisma. But there is so much opportunity for all of us to be influencers. Why do you build influence? Because you add value. You become the go-to authority, the go-to expert, the go-to source for how to, thrive on your ketogenic diet. Or like, I've got different guys. I subscribe to YouTube channels that just give me tax advice. I subscribe to YouTube channel that just gives me startup entrepreneur advice. And I'm talking about real niche CEO advice. So these aren't even big famous people, but they're adding like deeper value. There's YouTube channels that are just going to teach you to master Facebook ads, great content. There's going to be YouTube channels that are just about gardening, growing your greens. We interviewed John Kohler, has got a house probably 20 minutes from here in Las Vegas, and he's helping people master their compost, make the best basil and thyme, and, fight off aphids, so there's all these different, that's what I think, what they say, especially in building your brand online, you want to niche down. You want to identify your niche, your gray zone, kind of the intersection of what you're passionate about, what you're proficient at, and also what you can profit from. And your purpose, I think, on YouTube is found right in the middle of those things. Like, I love this area. It's the kind of thing, what section, if you go to Barnes & Noble, probably soon to no longer exist, but who knows? If you walk in, I love bookstores. What section do you gravitate towards? Like, what section? For me, I'm going to go straight up to self-help business, right? I'm going to be in like mindset and business. And then, but somebody else, they might be like, oh, I go to art. Well, we've got people in our community teaching people how to paint. So what are you passionate about? But passion's not enough. What are you also proficient at? If then you've developed some skill, and you don't need to be a master at it. But look, if you've put in 100 hours, if you put in 1,000 hours, then of course you can reach back and say, oh, I'm going to help you shorten your learning curve over here. If you're a new real estate agent, maybe you feel like, well, I don't have the chops and the expertise of these people. If you're 12 months into your thing, help people learn to not make the mistakes and lessons that you would have learned, that you wish you would have known in the first 12 months, just looking back. So you need to develop, though, a little bit of real proficiency, and then also identifying how are you going to profit from it. And this is a good question. The impact and the size that you grow on YouTube or social media is going to be directly correlated to market demand. And this should be obvious, but a lot of people miss this. How hot is the niche you're in? If you want to get 1 million subscribers, but your niche is underwater basket weaving, it's probably never going to happen, because only around 7,000 people a month are searching for underwater basket weaving. That's a pretty small niche.
Right.
But if you want to reach massive celebrity influencer success, well, then you need to make sure you're in a niche and hopefully have enough self-awareness to reverse engineer a little bit that that's what you're going for. There is so much opportunity, in my opinion, for having much smaller niches. There's an article from Kevin Kelly called 1,000 True Fans, and it basically sums this up, that if you've got 1,000 diehard fans online, and even if this is in addition to your normal business, maybe you're a local fitness trainer. I've got some friends, they have a brick and mortar fitness business, but they want to make extra money online. So if they build their influence on following online, and let's say create a product for those who can't come to their store, a $99 a year membership app that those individuals will be able to get these workouts on that app. It's $100 a year, and you've got 1,000 true fans. Well, that's a 6-figure business. You don't need 1,000 subscribers, or 1 million subscribers. You don't need 100,000 subscribers. If you've got 1,000 true fans, people that are like, yeah, teach me how to get me from point A to point Z, and at $100 each, 1,000 people, that is $100,000. And so the practicality of making this YouTube and social media thing work is a lot more realistic than some of us, I think, even realize.
So how much content would you say, or videos, would someone have to do? Like that example you gave of a fitness trainer, would you recommend they do 1 video a week, 2 videos a week? How would that work?
In our opinion, we always recommend that 1 video a week is a minimum.
Okay.
And I just think, I like to think of it a little bit like traditional TV show. And I know now that like on Netflix, they just drop the whole thing. And then what we do is we get a pint of Ben and Jerry's and we just go into a weekend coma. And where'd the time go? We got like bags under our eyes. But hey, Stranger Things 3 was amazing. So, and we binged the whole thing. But I remember a day when we would have to wait till Sunday night at 7 o'clock.
Right.
And you would watch The Walking Dead back when it was good. Or you would, turn on Full House.
Once Rick left, that was it for me.
Right.
The helicopter took it, I was done. I was out.
And so, yeah, I mean, for sure, I think thinking about, you want episodic content in a sense. By the way, I know it seems daunting, but when you do a video a week, that's only 52 videos a year. And we teach batching, meaning if you could shoot multiple videos at one time, maybe you shoot 4 at once, then you have 4 weeks of content after one shoot day. Maybe they're 10-minute videos. You plan them out on a Saturday morning. You get up, share some value for 10 minutes. You edit that down to 5 minutes, and then there's your video. And you do 4 in a batch. But all to go back to once a week, I think if you are serious and you want to move from just kind of dabbling to dominating as a YouTube creator, entrepreneur, influencer, weekly is just a minimum to say you're serious. I think you should be building an email list, putting out content on social media, and at least once a week, you should say, hey, community, here's value for you this week.
Right.
If you're not doing that, I just think you're probably on a path to irrelevance. There's too much noise. There's too much competition. And by the way, I also think that once a week is sometimes better than even more. That some people are actually a little too frantic and they're putting out mediocre social media content on multiple platforms, when what they could do is gather that energy and that focus to make one amazing piece of content a week. Right. And what I mean is probably less, not amazing production value, not because the camera's amazing and the lighting's amazing, because the content value is amazing. You know, growing up in church, what I learned that some of the best preachers on a Sunday, the best pastors, they are going to speak for like 35 minutes on a weekend, but they oftentimes will prepare for at least 20 hours.
Right.
We're not seeing enough of that in social media. We're seeing people just lob stuff out against the wall. And hey, if that works for you, great. But what would happen if you put 20 hours a week? Sean, I don't have it. Well, then figure out how much time you do have. But like, if you put 20 hours a week and condense that into 5 minutes, that's where the leverage point is. What all of us want is we want to go faster. We want someone to condense down the research, condense down the information, give us a quick story, a quick case study, and really give us a nugget of value. I don't care if you shoot it on a baked potato. Like, the video quality is going to be less relevant there. If you deliver, if you compress 20 hours of research into 5 minutes, what have you done? You've saved me time. And so that's what I kind of do in tech. I get videos that get watched for weeks, months, and years to come, and they sell cameras because of affiliate marketing. But I've read the blogs, I've put in the time, I know cameras, other people don't. They're saying, Sean, shorten my learning curve. Sean, take what would have taken me, it would take them even longer than me, because they don't know about the blogs and the information. So even me, if I put in 5 hours of research into a video and then they get to consume it in 10 minutes, it's a service. And again, it comes back to adding value. And then I've learned that your income is directly correlated to the amount of value that you add to the marketplace. So when you just add value in your niche, in your topic, cream always rises to the top, no matter how many cups of coffee you pour.
So say you add value and somebody's doing what they're following all your instructions. So when do you take them from, okay, we've done all this value, we've done all these videos, to paying clients? How do you make that transition?
I mean, I think you could start from day one. That's one reason why you want to build an email list. And a lot of times what we teach is you don't really sell on social media. How do you sell on social media? By not selling on social media. Does it make sense? Okay. How do you sell on social media? By taking the conversation off of social media. So what's cool about social media is it's a chance to add free value, free content, and meet new people. Right. Because if you put out a good piece of content, you're just doing consistent, adding value to your current followers, but then something gets hot. You cover the right trend at the right time. Listen to this. I was just at a think tank with some high-level leaders. One of the people in the think tank is in the financial industry. And here's one of the ideas that came out. You know what you should do? You should do, and the person has the chops to do this, you should look at Donald Trump's last public tax returns, and you should do some content about how, he was able to not pay taxes. And two things. Number one, the headlines, people are going to be like, where are you going with that? What's your belief on that? And he said, but you'll please both sides, because some people will think you're going to try to take him down. But then your ultimate answer is why these tax strategies are smart and how you could also apply these in your whole life. And part of this guy's vision is helping like democratize the tax strategies and the information that the top 1% have to everybody else. But when they said that, I was like, dude, that content's going to get crazy. Like,
this was a tax guy?
Yeah. Okay. It was a financial guy, kind of like a Robert Kiyosaki, kind of like a Dave Ramsey. Right. And so what's the point? You get a viral idea like that, a brilliant idea like that, and it blows up. So you're putting out consistent content, always trying to get a base hit, like in baseball. I don't even care if it's a bunt, it's ugly, at least you got on base. That's like your 10 views, your 100 views, whatever. But when you're consistent, eventually it connects with the pitch. You hit the right topic at the right time and it blows up. And so all that to say is that you add free value to meet new people on social. Something blows up and they meet you. But then what you want to have in place is a business model on the back end. What are you going to sell? Your income online is directly correlated to the amount of buy buttons that you have on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So most people that I've learned sometimes when they're kind of frustrated is like, well, my income, I'm not really making any money online. How many buy buttons on your website do you have? 0. Okay, well, I mean, then that's maybe the next thing. So then it's figuring out, meaning, so when people see, where do they go next? Do they then join you for a free webinar? Do they download some one of my mentors, Shalene Johnson, calls it a freemium. That's premium free content.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's a masterclass, a webinar, it could be a video series, it could be an audio file, it could be a PDF download, a checklist, a meal plan, a workout plan. It could be a lot of different things. But now you've given them that in exchange for an email address, so you can continue to communicate, continue to add more value, and then to educate about what you could do, where you could take them next. So in a lot of cases, some people, if they're in the infopreneur space, the education space,
right,
they probably have like a digital course of some kind, or maybe a coaching program or a mentorship program. And so then it's just connecting the dot. You're meeting people on YouTube, letting them know how they can go to a deeper level with you, and then presenting that offer to them.
Mm-hmm.
Also, your income is directly correlated to the amount of offers that you make to the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sean, I've never made an offer. Well, that's probably why it's just one of those things. Like you at some point you just make an offer. Not everybody buys it. It's who's it right for. You say, here's how I can help you. Here's how we can go to another level. I hope you got value out of this. If you want the fast track, or you want the next step, or there's an offer. And then of course the magic is in the nuances of everything we're talking about, the strategies that connect it all together, even figuring out some of software solutions and things like that. So how do you build these pages and build websites or whatever? But you get all this set up, and that's really kind of how it works. In a lot of ways, everything is new with the social media thing, but nothing is different. It comes back to, we just need awareness. We need to meet strangers, people that didn't know us in the past. And still people would put up billboards, and then we'd say, oh, that restaurant exists, and now we can go check it out. And then maybe they'd say, hey, you can have a free iced tea from just stopping by. So they got you in the door by saying, I'm just going to get a free iced tea. Go in. They're like, hey, you want to sample this like quinoa salad? That's good.
Small tripwires, right?
Exactly. And then you're like, man, that salad was amazing. And this iced tea, and you guys are so friendly. All right, I'm going to hang around. I'm going to, start, not only paying you today to buy lunch, but now I'm going to leave a Yelp review and keep coming back and be a part of your rewards program. And now you might have a customer for life. LTV, lifetime value of that customer, is someone like me, who we got Sharky's up the streets. One of our favorite, in fact, we like all these Mexican places. We got Chipotle, that's good. Cafe Rio is great. Sharky's is amazing. You got a few other places in Vegas that are even higher end. But we love these places. Why? Because they built goodwill, they added value. And so we're doing a lot of those traditional business things. We're just taking them online.
So you kind of touched on this a little bit ago, but I'm going to ask it because maybe a little clarity. So where do you rank quality, right? Spending time, because you kind of touched on that, over quantity. So somebody just starting out, do you think they should just be putting videos out? Or like you were saying, they need to think things through before they release a video? Or should they just go all in and try to like outline some stuff and batch it out like you said?
So the first thing is, it depends on what phase you're in. If you're in phase beta, I actually think that 100 videos, you should not be too worried about results. There's a famous or very influential person in our kind of social media space. His name's Gary Vaynerchuk, 5 times New York Times bestseller.
Love him.
And one of the reasons he got famous was because he helped grow his dad's wine business from like 3 million a year to like 60 million a year, leveraging Google AdWords, social media. Part of how he did that was early on, he started a show like everybody watching and we should do.
Right.
He started a show. It was called Wine Library TV, and where he would taste wine and review wine. And what he mentioned was he got like no traction for 2 years.
Right.
He kept showing up, but like no one was watching for 2 years. That's what most people here don't want to hear. because we all want the grand slam social media miracle, blow me up overnight, but
Immediate results.
immediate results. You got to put the time in up front. So that's why you need to decide what phase you're in phase beta. And the reason I call it beta is you need the learnings to even, beta experimental, meaning you're like, I'm just figuring this out. I'm figuring out my voice. I'm figuring out my YouTube channel, whatever. If you're in that phase, it's both. Try to level up your quality, but also put out quantity and focus on learning, figuring out yourself, connecting with your audience. Then if you maybe move into, okay, I understand what I'm going to do. I feel like I've got my content dialed. I know my brand. I know what I'm selling. I know what I'm building. I know I'm a real estate agent. This is how I'm going to use YouTube to build my real estate business. You got clarity. Then I would say this, I would rate quality over quantity
Okay.
right now, because I think that quality with so much just noise and mediocrity on social, it will rise to the top. This is actually, it speaks to how Google ranks blog posts. It speaks to how YouTube likes sometimes longer form content. There's what's called the skyscraper method in Google, and it's this idea of creating incredibly long blog posts that are super rich. Tim Ferriss does this. Brian Dean, who's an SEO master, does this, where it's like lots of value, lots of research, and lots of quality, and it's very deep. But what the long tail of it is super significant. So if I could pick quality over quantity, I'd say put out legacy pieces of content, put out content that is so it's you can't not share it. You're like, my gosh, this is so great, because that's an asset that will continue to work for you. But my final answer is then it's both. It's quality and quantity. And even sometimes if we went back to that one pillar piece of content a week, I'm saying get to a place where you build a pillar piece of content a week, legacy content, something you're proud of, something that someone goes, wow, they really put time into this. It's adding value to my life. It's getting me results. And then you might put out a bunch of pepper, like small pieces of content that are a little bit quicker, because you want to be present. You want to generate awareness, and people are kind of getting both sides. Hey, here's 60 seconds on Instagram stories. Here's a quick live, just a bunch of things like that. And then maybe you could scale over time. The last piece is that when you put out quality and build your brand and become known for a particular kind of value, this will directly impact your bottom line. When it does, if you're a wise entrepreneur, in my opinion, you're going to reinvest those dollars into scaling more content. So right now I'm putting out, we're probably putting out like 50 to 75 pieces of content a day.
Wow.
But I've got a team of 10 people. And the only reason, though, I have a team of 10 people and we have a multiple 7-figure business is because when I was by myself, I was doing the best I could when I had a side hustle, when I was juggling and doing everything, to put out legacy pieces of content. We call those ranked videos on YouTube, because I saw the long-term vision. And by the way, it doesn't even work every time. Sometimes you put out one, you put a lot into it, and you're like, dang, those results didn't even correlate to the amount of, I'm a little bit discouraged.
Right.
But when some break out, again, it's like, what would you be willing to invest and pay with your time, your energy, your resources today to change your life tomorrow? Dave Ramsey says it like this: live today like no one else, so later in life you can live like no one else. So put out quality, pepper some quantity, and then reinvest profits into scaling both over time through team, systems, software, and processes.
Makes total sense. So you have 10 people you mentioned. So are a lot of these people doing editing, and you have videographers with you, because you do a lot of the stuff yourself? So, but you have like film crews following you around and editing for you?
I mean, it's all kinds of different stuff. Not necessarily following me around, because I don't really do a show, although that does happen.
Right.
I don't do a show like that. It's mostly like produced content, but yes, I probably only do 1 to 5% of the editing anymore. And same thing with the shooting. I just shot some videos yesterday in Austin, but I'm going to hand off the SD card to somebody else to edit. And then we also have people help with social media, running YouTube ads, Facebook ads, Google Display Network. We've got admin help of customer service. We've got, so those people take customer service. We got sales, and we have a membership program that is kind of co-taught by our operations officer, Heather Torres, and myself. So there's this kind of a lot of things happening. And again, number one, Think Media really started, like I went all in as a solopreneur, um, really October 2015. But Think Media started in 2010. And I was working
There's
on
your YouTube Think Media TV. Anybody wants to follow you, it's right there.
Awesome. Thanks for posting that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first video went up on that channel in 2010, but then I went on a couple year hiatus. I had other things I was doing and I just kind of put out a few videos, but I went all in on it about 3.5 years ago. And things have been scaling that's pretty fast scale as far as everything. But on the flip side, again, it was, sometimes the mistake we make is not realizing that overnight success takes 10 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so yeah, now we're hitting, it's kind of like that growth curve. It's like Think Media started to go like this. And actually right now it's like, wow, it's even for me, it's kind of scary. Two of the scariest things in life are no momentum and momentum. Like in either case, it could be terrifying on both sides. On the one side, you're like, frick, I'm broke and I need some momentum. On the other side, you're like, I got a ton of momentum and I'm terrified and I have no idea what's going on. So that's kind of where we are right now.
But that goes back to all the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into it, right? People don't see that. They only see you, the Sean Cannell right now. Like I saw you on stage. I was like, God, this guy's dynamic. That's what everybody sees. But all those, you posted the other day, I don't know, I was watching a video, your first videos, and it was funny to see. It was, it was great that you showed that. And your Instagram stories are cool. So I'm watching that too. So it's like, I'm all in on Sean Cannell. It's cool. So let me ask you, Sean, if you could go back into time, right? 10 years, let's say, what would you do differently to get to your path right now? How would you shorten your learning curve? Is there anything that you would do differently?
Sure. So on the one hand, I actually, I feel like I don't have regrets. And even that becomes like some butterfly time travel, butterfly effect kind of question, because even when I look back at even some of the most painful seasons, the hardest seasons, and even maybe not good decisions, for example, I mean, we went through the hardest season of our life. In 2009, my wife almost died. And I found myself by her bedside for 6 days.
Wow.
And besides the fact she was dealing with a chronic illness and it dropped down to 82 pounds and now has a gastric stimulator installed, kind of like a pacemaker for your heart. It's a pacemaker for your stomach to help your stomach digest.
Wow.
She got very sick. We got married at 21. She got very sick at 23. And for years was dealing with that. But here's another thing that happened. We also, during the Big Short, the bubble, when they're just handing out loans based on declared income, we got one house, turned it into a rental property. We got another house. We were living with another family there. And then my wife's health came under attack. Our church actually started to fall apart. The leader stole some money. So that was massively, it was like every area of our life was being disrupted. And then we started losing our homes because we're losing jobs. We're dual income. She can't work while she's going through this health challenge. I'm doing ministry. That doesn't pay well. I'm waiting tables and I'm trying to start my business. And so we were financially pressed. And here's what I would say, though. I was going to say one of the bad mistakes we made was those real estate decisions. Like even against some good advice from my parents, we still bought those houses. But here's how I look at it. This is kind of a long answer, but here's how I look at it. I don't even regret it at all. But I don't regret it at all. Why? Because we got so much wisdom, like a lot of wisdom, expensive wisdom. And now we're so much better I'm not afraid of real estate. That's where some people's reaction to adversity is. I just really believe sometimes you win, but sometimes you learn. And so my reaction was like, that was the most expensive education I ever could get on real estate, that we're never going to make that mistake again, or at least we're going to do our due diligence as it pertains to all of that kind of stuff. Right. And so in answer to your question, I feel like the good and bad decisions and different things really led us to where we are today and all the learnings. But the two big things I would say, if I could go back 10 years ago, is I would have leaned in way more. I was hesitant behind self-doubt, lack of self-confidence, imposter syndrome. Who am I to put myself out there? I also, I don't want to say there's of course nothing wrong with leisure and rest. That's incredibly important. But I was wasting my time on a lot of dumb stuff. And when I look back and I think, man, if I would have been focused on the opportunity at the time, which was 10 years ago, so there was even more opportunity, right?
Right.
I would have gone all in more. And I think that speaks to the fact of everybody listening and watching right now. Don't wait. Like, don't wait 1 year pondering things, 3 years pondering things. Go all in right now, because you don't want to have that regret to be like, dang it. Like, strike when the iron is hot.
Right.
And YouTube, it's hot right now. Social media, well, it's getting more crowded. Okay, well, then just complain and sit on the sidelines for another year or two while this bus
That does
passes you
nothing.
by. No, of course it's crowded. I like to think about coffee as an analogy for that. Like, is coffee crowded? Are you kidding me? You go to the grocery store, Dunkin' Donuts, Seattle's Best, Pete's, the Kroger, like whatever different brands. But then I grew up in Seattle, founding place of Starbucks. I remember my dad took me to the first Starbucks ever, not in Pike Place Market. They use that as the first store. There's actually one a couple blocks over. They used to not even sell coffee. They just roasted beans and sold the beans for you to take home. And so what business did Starbucks have starting a coffee company when already McDonald's was selling coffee and Dunkin' Donuts and 7-Eleven and all these different people? And by the way, my friend is opening up a new coffee shop in Vegas this month, and it's all hipsters with like pour overs. But here's the bigger question. The fact is there's a market for it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is people drink coffee, and what they figured out was different is better than better. A lot of people love Dunkin' Donuts. It's good coffee. It's cheap.
Right.
A lot of people want the hipster place with the guy with the tattoos, wax mustache.
Right.
They hate Starbucks. Starbucks is over roasted, tastes terrible, whatever. And they've got the Ethiopian citrus fruit forward kind of special single origin beans. There's a place for that because they know their niche. There's a place for Starbucks because they've created consistency globally, and it's that third place. I love it. I can get my green juice, my Wi-Fi, use my same card. I know exactly what to expect. So what did they do? They went into an industry that was clearly oversaturated, clearly crowded, but they just brought a unique spin, a unique perspective, and scaled into being like the biggest or one of the biggest coffee brands on planet Earth. That same opportunity exists for everybody listening today. Figure out your difference. Be you times two. Don't try to copy somebody else. It's better to, you were born an original, don't die a copy.
Right.
So we don't need somebody else doing content the way that they're doing in their niche. You just got to kind of find your own Starbucks branding, or your hipster local coffee shop, or your McDonald's fast coffee for breakfast as well. It doesn't matter which one, because all of those guys are winning.
Right.
They just really know their niche. That's my biggest regret, not going more of all in. And then the other thing would have also been leaning a little bit more to my personal development. I've always leaned into learning, but this is actually an ancient proverb, right? That it's like, if you prize wisdom, she will promote you. Walk with the wise and you will become wise. Is just taking a little bit more of risks on investing in experts, shortening my learning curve by connecting with others. And that would be the other one.
Oh, I'm a big believer in that. And you could tell that you're into that now. So you teach, but then you also are willing to absorb more information, because we can learn, my philosophy is you can learn something from everyone if you're willing to listen. Right. And then the second part is execute. You need to execute. You talk about that, punch fear in the face and execute, really is what you always preach. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So what's the goal, Sean? What is going to happen with your company, your business? What do you got coming up? Any big plans you want to talk about?
Yeah, we're on a mission to help 10,000 people achieve financial freedom and make a difference leveraging YouTube and online video. And whether that means they want to actually start something and make money on those platforms, of course, we teach that from scratch. That's what I did. As a small town kid, college dropout, I started making videos in my bedroom and built a 6-figure income talking about cameras and lights from just shooting videos with no sponsors, no promotion, no, just bootstrapping it. That exists. The other thing is installing YouTube in your pre-existing business. Maybe you already are profitable, but you want to scale profits and reach financial independence faster. That's our mission. 10,000 people reaching that goal. And making a difference. The people that resonate with us are purpose-driven, mission-driven entrepreneurs. And so people that want to not just make a great living, but also a difference in the world with their businesses, their products, their services, their coaching, their information. How are we going to do that? We have an event coming up September 14th. Grow with Video live in Las Vegas. Of course, YouTube Secrets is a way we continue to share our book. We've got free videos coming out on Video Influencers and Think Media that will help get you to that goal. And we've got our various programs like Video Ranking Academy that also can serve and help people get to that goal. Actually, if people want to watch one of our free trainings, it's normally something that is a part of some of our paid mentorship, but we have a whole hour-long training that's out for free just so people can kind of check it out, get massive value, go implement and get results. And then if they want to go to the next level, they can learn more about those programs. That's at Think Masterclass, like Think, T-I-N-K, masterclass.com, if you want to check that out. But those are the big resources, and it's all coming back to that mission. That's those, trainings, education, helping people with, we've got new camera reviews coming up. We're always looking for the best tools, the most affordable and most effective and easiest to use, because we're not trying to help the filmmaker that's obsessed and knows all these crazy complicated features. We just want to help entrepreneurs that don't want to become tech experts. They want something that's easy to use, friendly. We help them get it set up so they can worry less about the camera and focus on the content.
Right. And you know what? I wanted to mention something because you were talking about how there is some saturation in certain industries. But just like in my local market, when we do like audits and we look at people and what they're doing for marketing, you'd be surprised of how many businesses aren't on YouTube at all. So it's still wide open.
I have the stat. I just did a talk. It's 9% of US small businesses are using YouTube.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so Sean's right. I mean, you got to get started today. Real quick, before I let you go, what tool do you think, or what camera would you recommend for some business that wants to get started? I know you can use your phone, but if you want to up your game a little bit of investment, what would you recommend they do?
So we actually have two things. If you go to thinkgearguide.com, we just updated our video gear buyer's guide, thinkgearguide.com. And I'll tell you the three main kits. Here they are. Number one, start with your smartphone. You got an Android or an iPhone, and it's good. By the way, literally start with your smartphone. Like your first video, because by the way, your first videos are going to be worst videos, and use your season in obscurity to prepare you for popularity. Hey, what's up? Sean here. It's my first video. I feel really awkward. But on this channel, we're going to be helping you put more money in your bank account and give a little bit of less money to the IRS, of course, ethically. So stay tuned on this channel for the latest tax strategies, tips. And I hope I sounded okay. All right. I don't know, subscribe or whatever, turn it off, widescreen, upload it to YouTube. I'm serious. You're watching this, you're making excuses. That's your first video. If anything, you could always make it private, but you'll be thankful that you archived the day you shot your first video. I want to challenge everybody watching. Shoot your first video, widescreen. Hey, what's up, Sean here? Hey, Sarah here. And this channel is all about helping you get fit, for women over 50 and whatever. Do your thing, put it out there. Even if you go, hey, Sarah here, I don't even know what this channel is about. I just know I need to start, and I'm reading a book right now called YouTube Secrets. And stay tuned. Just get your first video out because you need to get past that. So your smartphone. The next tip though, there is on the gear guide. I think that you should accessorize a little bit. You've got some lighting in your studio, don't you? Right in front of you?
Yes.
Yeah, I got a light in front of me. So you get like a light. You could eventually get like a microphone like this. There's some that plug right into your lightning port or to the jack in your phone. So we recommend a few of those. Accessorize your phone to the tune of around $100. You can really level up your video. Little tripod for it, little phone mount, plug a little microphone in, turn a light on. Start with your smartphone. It does not have to break the bank. The next setup we recommend costs around $1,000. It's the Canon M50. It's got a nice flip screen. You can get your mic, your tripod, 2 different mics, a light kit, and we talk about that in the guide. And that's if you kind of want to be a little bit more pro. And to this day, there's all kinds of new cameras coming out all the time. Currently now, and I'm guessing because I see down the road a little bit for new products, still the best buy. The camera itself is around $500. But what I'm saying is budget for your tripod, a few microphones, your light kit, and the SD cards and other accessories. And then finally, some people are looking and they're like, you know what? I want to make a splash. I want my stuff to just be the best looking in the industry. We've got the kit we use for Think Media. Let me make a disclaimer. I don't think it's necessary. I do think if you're like, look, resources are not a problem. I really want to stand out. I don't think that's what makes you stand out too. I mean, I'm anti-selling it, but I think because it's the content value, not the production value. But as tech, YouTubers ourselves, as leaders in the industry, and as people, we're putting out 4K content. It's beautiful, it's crispy,
Right.
but the setup we use is around $4,000, and we talk about that one as well. It's Sony cameras, the Sony A7 III. So, anyways, thinkgearguide.com shares all those resources. If anybody that wants to, look into getting some gear. But look, you don't even need that. This is all you need. And you can get started even for the next few months with just your smartphone. So punch fear in the face, punch perfectionism in the face, and press record.
I love that, Sean. I love that. It's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the Q&A show. You guys, I can't speak more highly of this book. It's chock full of information. And if you get a chance to see Sean live, you got to check him out. Go to his YouTube channel. Lots of information. Sean, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with my audience. We're going to push this out. This will also be on our media page. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people. There's a lot of people on here thanking you. You go back and check the comments, but it was awesome. And thank you so much for coming on. It was my pleasure.
Bob, thank you. And Ruben, super grateful for you being a part of VRA. Samuel, thanks so much. Carrie, great to see you. Carla, thanks for being here. And if you're on the replay, thanks so much. Really appreciate you hanging out. And Bob, thanks for the opportunity.
Yep. And you guys remember #replay if you see it in replay, and actually put what city you're watching us from, because our media page now has hit 32 states and 21 countries. So just the media page, and we want to know where you're watching from. That would help us out a lot too.
I love it. And Samuel asked, where can we get the book? It's on Amazon everywhere, and it should be around the world. So Amazon Canada, Amazon US, Amazon
and different
Australia.
languages I saw too, right? I saw you post.
Yeah, I actually got one right here. We in Korean right now. We have Vietnamese. We got a couple others coming out. It's crazy. I got Dragon Ball Z is promoted in the back page of this version. Look at that. It's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of cool. And so
it's cool.
Anyways, and they even have the other dollar sign, right? So you got the American dollar. So that's like that the Korean.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
so anyways, all the Amazons, and that's digital, physical, and Audible, if you want to check it out. But yeah, Amazon is where to get it.
Awesome. Sean, if you ever need anything from me, I'm here. I'm a big fan. Hopefully I get to see you again one day. I'll probably see you at the summit the next year. And it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you. And have a good night. Have a good one. You guys, thank you so much for joining me here on the Q&A show. Next week, we'll have more guests. Keep in tune with us to the Facebook page and also the media page. And we can't wait to see you on the next show. And just to your success, whatever you're doing, keep pushing, and I'm sure you'll get there. Thank you very much. My name is Bob Theriot, and thank you for watching the Q&A show.